It is hard to believe that we are already halfway through 2023. Let's look back at 5 big news drivers that have shaped the year and maybe even reverberate well into the second half. Fasten your seatbelts, folks. This is going to be a good one. So far, this year has been a very interesting one, and we have seen a lot of changes in the overall markets, inflation, supply chains, AI, geoeconomical shifts, and of course the antics of one Elon Musk. Many of these were major news drivers and they had some impacts on the market. We are going to look at 5 of the biggest stories of 2023 and how they shaped the first half of this year and how they may shape the second half as well. This is a video that has been in the making for, 6 months. Join the conversation. Let us know in the comments what you are expecting in the second half of this year. Your participation is well appreciated. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay up to date on future content. And a huge thank you for that click. Normally, I like to reveal how I qualified the list, but to be honest, these rankings are, they're ordered by my opinion, and I absolutely expect many of you have totally different rankings. I would love to see your rankings down below. Without any further ado, let's do this. India has the fastest growing economy in 2023 in, the entire world. In fact, they are more than likely one of the few countries that a recession is not in the foreseeable future for. Currently, India has the world's 5th biggest economy behind only Germany, Japan, China, and of course the US. In fact, by 2075, it is predicted their economy will have grown so much that they will be in spot number 3. In fact, in 2075, they're thinking it's going to be China, the US, then India. What is creating this rise in India? One is, their rising population. They have just passed China to become the most populous country in the world. This is absolutely huge. Not only are they exploding economically, they have the people to put to work to maintain and expand this momentum. Another major plus for India is the West's move away from China, and this has seen some major companies like Apple looking to set up shop. India's government has a focus on setting up infrastructure to accommodate this growth, so they're doing the right thing. This is a trend that is set to continue, and as investors, perhaps looking towards India is not a bad move at all. Our good old buddy Elon Musk took control of Twitter back in late 2022. But in 2023, we were going to see just what he had in store for that platform. January saw Twitter relaxing the political advertising policy and lots of issues with their verification system, and amongst the normal Elon drama, they lost 500 advertisers. By February, things had not improved that much more. Twitter had their first capacity issues, and they were down for 90 minutes. They then went down during the Super Bowl's halftime show. Elon also announced he was going to hire a CEO to run Twitter. That was seen as positive, especially for Tesla. Elon, of course, kept at it, making his verification system Twitter Blue as enticing as he could get it, offering 50% less ads, and if you wanted to make money as a content creator, you would need to be verified as well. He also decided to rebrand the whole thing as X Corp. Even as Linda Lasarino took over as CEO, the ad woes continued, and Twitter is currently down 59% in advertising revenue. Twitter is losing money big time, and with no end in sight, you have to wonder if they may be on a sinking ship. And now, with Meta bringing out Threads, you have to be a little concerned about Twitter's future. Elon and Linda will need to pull at least a rabbit or maybe even 2 or 3 out of their hat. In Canada, as the fight against inflation raged on, the government rolled out their carbon taxes, and the price at the pump was about to make life a lot more difficult for many Canadians. There was a tax directly on the price of gas and oil, as well as an indirect one that dropped on July 1st. That was against the refiners of oil and gas, and you can expect them to pass that tax on to the pumps. Climate change has become a more centralized issue, and the carbon tax was one offshoot of the threat posed by a changing climate. With wildfires out of control in Canada, record heat in many other parts of the world, the whole idea of looking at a company and if it is ESG compliant has become a consideration for many investors. ESG compliance is taking into consideration, of course, environmental, social, and governance factors to assess the sustainability of a company. Sustainability, definitely a huge trend in 2023. Companies are taking the environment more seriously, and not just because of newer regulations, but to be more environmentally conscious. Companies like Tesla exploded in 2023 as a greater focus has come to EV cars and as other EV manufacturers adopted the Tesla charger for their cars. ESG will continue to become more important, and the carbon tax in Canada will hurt for some time and will eventually become an election issue, I imagine, by 2025. The Fed in the US and the Bank of Canada up here are in a battle against inflation. In Canada, we entered 2023 with an overnight rate of 4.25% after it rose 400 basis points in 2022. Canadians were, of course, hoping that the rate was done with all of that rising, but inflation proved to be stickier than expected, and we saw that rate rise to 4.75% in the first half of the year, and then all the way up to 5% in July. Banks have been in a bit of a pickle with rising rates, driving up mortgages for people with variable rates, or with rates being renewed. In many cases, people were in a situation where they needed to have their amortization drawn out to be able to make payments, which often results in paying only the interest in some of these cases, or in some cases even less. There were a good amount of people who took fixed rates in the pandemic, and they will have to renew in a few years, and that is going to be rough, especially those who only bought houses thinking the rates were going to be low for a very long time, as the government kind of implied would be the case. It is not just mortgages. Credit cards and other lending products, well, all of their interest has risen, and many have fallen behind. With food inflation still being high, some have even resorted to burying themselves in debt instead of, well, not feeding their family. The ramifications of this debt is still in front of us, and the financial sector will experience a lot more pain before it's all done. Luckily, they do know it is coming, but nonetheless, it will make sizable growth much harder for some of these companies. ChatGPT became a household word as OpenAI's chatbot went mainstream. The power of AI has become undeniable. People adopted it faster than fast as it hit 100 million active users by its second month. With AI taking off, Google and Microsoft both wanted in. Microsoft invested in OpenAI so that they could add ChatGPT to Bing as well as to some of their Office apps. Alphabet, on the other hand, introduced a brand new AI called Bard to the world. Well, at least to most of the world. You can't get it in Canada. The hype over AI was about to do something very interesting to the NASDAQ, which was sitting at 10,562.06 on January 3rd. By June 30th, it was going to close at 13,787.92. This was an increase of 30.54%. Holy banana bread. We have a bull market on that NASDAQ. This, of course, was bolstered by massive growth in AI-related companies like Microsoft, Apple, and Nvidia, just to name a few. Tesla cannot be ignored, as they did lead the pack in this rally, as they more than doubled their share price for an increase of 141.79% in the first half of this year. Interestingly, part of this is due to price cuts, which lifted their sales big time. Also, having Ford, GM, Rivian, and Mercedes-Benz all agreeing to adopt the Tesla's charging technology, well, that was a boom for the company. The NASDAQ is probably going to cool down in the second half as the AI craze fades and the market may even correct a wee bit. As an investor, it is dollar cost average as normal, but the buy the dip moments for the NASDAQ are more than likely behind us in 2023. So these are our big stories of the first half of 2023. Are there any stories I left out? How would you rank your top stories? I would love to know down in the comments. Let's get a conversation going. Keep the learning going. Watch my video on Royal Bank or test YouTube's recommendation skills by checking out the video on the right. Your choice will decide the winner, and I will see you in the next video.